Hello everyone, this is Jim Kozak from the Davie Resource Group's IT Services Department. In this installment of the TreeKeeper 8 video tutorial series, we're going to be covering reporting. We'll start by accessing existing reports, creating reports, editing reports, filtering reports, and we'll also look at the tools built into the system to export data from reports. So let's go ahead and get started. When you log into the TreeKeeper system, the tool tray over on the left-hand side has a variety of tools, one of which is the report builder. Selecting the report builder will allow you to access the report section of TreeKeeper. So these are custom reports that you would build in TreeKeeper. And to access a report, you would simply select the report and the report will run. I think it's worth mentioning before we jump too far into creating reports that the TreeKeeper system has some dashboard reporting already built into the system. So if you were to select the pie chart icon on the toolbar, you'll get a series of dashboard reports. So for example, here's a condition breakdown pie chart as well as a condition report. These are basically reports that you can run at the click of a button, and they're custom reports that we can create for you and create buttons here on the dashboard to allow you to run them. So things like a species breakdown report, reports like condition or diameter breakdowns. So these are ways that you can get really quick counts of sites in a dBH range. Area breakdown report, work type breakdown report, work status breakdown report, and finally primary maintenance report. So before you start jumping into reporting thinking that you need to create specific reports, check your dashboard reporting because these reports may already exist for you. And then additionally, another thing to understand about reports is that the reports will by default run over the entire set of data. But if I were to, for example, use my select by rectangle to just grab a subset of data, so here I'll just grab a small set of data, and you can see that there's 227 sites that are selected. If I bring up my dashboard report and start running my dashboard report, you'll see that the data that the dashboard is reporting on by default is the entire set. But if you have a selected set of data, you can run your dashboard reports on the subset of data that you have selected. So you can do that selection either through a select by rectangle, or you could do that selection a filter. So here's my Catlin Court filter, and I can see here that on my site matches screen that I have 15 matching sites. I can also see that same corresponding filter down to my map selected set. So let's go back into reports. In the reporting tool, again, to select a report, it's just as easy as selecting the report name and the report will show. So this is accessing existing reports in the report builder section. The next step we're going to talk about is creating a report. And if I wanted to create a report called condition, creating that report is very easy. I just come down to the bottom of the screen here. There's a plus symbol, and I go ahead and hit the plus symbol. I can add a report and give the report a name. I'll call this one condition 2, and we'll go ahead and create the same report. In the report menu, I can choose who I want to share that report with. So I can share the report with only myself, everyone, administrators, or I can create groups to allow groups to be able to see the report. So this report I'll set viewable only to me. I'm going to select my data layer, which in this case is street tree, but if I wanted to switch to park trees or any other layer that I'm hosting on the system, I can go ahead and choose the layer. I can choose the type of report, which is either going to be a listing report or a summary report. I'll go ahead and select summary, and then I'll choose my attributes. So to emulate the condition report that I showed you, I'm going to select my display attributes. I'm going to choose the attribute type. So this could be site information, work information, or call information. It's defaulted to site, and I'll leave it that way. I'll go ahead and select condition, and then I'll also incorporate a count. I'll go ahead and hit save the report, and the report is saved. And to run the report, all I have to do is select it and run it. Now you'll notice that in this report is listed by condition alphabetically. And so if I wanted to do the same thing here, or if I wanted to list it out by count ascending, all I would have to do is edit the report, go to the attributes, and then choose to sort by display attribute condition 1, and then hit save the report. And so the next time I run it, that report will always run with the condition column sorted alphabetically. There's really accessing reports, creating reports, and editing reports. I wanted to run through a few more examples though of different types of reports you can create and how easy it is. In terms of summary reports, I like using summary reports a lot. There's times when you'll need listing reports, and I'll go through that as well. But to create a report, let's just say, for example, that I wanted to have all of my maintenances listed. And let's say that I want the maintenance listed by area. So I could call maintenance by quadrant. And I'll go ahead and create the report. Again, I'll share the report only with me. I'll choose my data layer. I'll choose my type, which will choose my attributes, which are going to be a site level attribute called quadrant. And I'll sort those by quadrant. And I'll choose a site level attribute, and I'll choose the attribute called primary maintenance. And then I will also add a count. So here I've just added the display attributes. I've chosen the attributes, and I'll go ahead and hit save report. And I simply click on the checkbox, and now I have my maintenance by quadrant report. And this isn't a listing report, this is a summary report. So in my northeast large tree cleans, my primary maintenance count is 668. My stump removals are 10, my young tree trains are 350, etc. If I wanted to find out all of my large tree cleans, I can filter for large, and this gives me all of my large tree cleans in all of the quadrants. If I were only interested, for example, in the northern, I could start to type in north, and if I want to isolate the northwest, I can type north W, and if I want to isolate the east, I can type northeast. And that allows me to create a more comprehensive report and filter down to the data I want. Another thing that of note in the reports after you create them is a way to export the data. So I have the options over here in the menu in the upper right hand corner to export all of the data or visible data as a CSV, which CSV file will open in Excel, or as a PDF. So I have the ability to export all data or visible data as a PDF. For example, here if I select all data as a PDF, I get a PDF report with all of my data on it. If I wanted to filter this down to just, for example, the large tree cleans, and I wanted to export that same report as a PDF, I would select export only visible data as a PDF, and then this is what that report. Exporting as a CSV, so I'll export visible data as a CSV. And you can see this will tell me when the report has downloaded. You can see that I have CSV files set to open by default in Microsoft Excel. So if I simply double click that icon, I'm able to view my exported report. So here's that report exported to a CSV. And then to export to a export all data, even if I have the data filtered, I could still export all data as a CSV, and that will give me all of the data. So here's all of my data exported as a CSV. One sort of little trick that you'll notice that I'm doing here, this is kind of like a little bit of a pro tip. Anytime you want to format a report that you put into Excel quickly, you can select this upper leftmost icon, which selects all of the cells And then whatever you do to one cell will be done to all of them. So what I'll do is I'll drag the column A over, then I'll release it, and without me using my mouse, I'll double click it. And what that does is that instantly formats all of the columns to be the column width of the name of the column. That's a maintenance by quadrant report. Another type of report that you might want to run is species with counts, or streets with trees, or work by project. So let's run through just another couple of examples. A report called Streets with Trees. I'll give it a name. I'll share it only with me. I'll choose the street trees. The type is going to be summary. The attributes are going to be the site level attribute, street. I'll sort that alphabetically, and then I'll add a count field. I'll choose sum. In the previous reports that I created, I didn't consciously choose sum, but the system will default to sum if you don't select it rather than average. So I'll go ahead and hit save my report, and here is my streets with my count of the number of trees on each street. My species counts, I can go ahead then and create a report called count of species, create the report, choose my facility, my type, which will be summary, my attributes, which will be the site level attribute of species, and my count field. I'll choose summary. I'll have these listed out alphabetically, and I'll hit save report. And I'll simply click that checkbox to run the report. So this will give me the report with both the common and the botanical name and my corresponding counts. And this is listing them alphabetically by the botanical name. Another type of report that you can run are work level reports. So I'll create a work by project report. I'm going to have this shared only with me. I'm going to choose the data layer of trees. The type is going to be a summary. My attributes. Here I'm going to select my attribute type drop-down list, and I'm going to choose work. And my first column is going to be work project. And then I'll just go ahead and add count. Choose the summary. I'll choose these alphabetically by project, and I'll go ahead and hit save report. So here are all of my projects and the counts of work records that I have associated to those projects. If I wanted to, one of the really nice things about TreeKeeper 8 is you have the ability to edit existing reports. So if I create a very high level report and I want to actually tease a little bit more information out of this report, I could go ahead and edit the report and choose my attributes. I'm going to delete the count because what I want to do is I want to know, in addition to the project, I want to know what type of work was done. So here I'm going to go ahead and add work type, and then I'll go ahead and add another count field. So now I'll have a report that lists out my work types by project and gives me the counts. I'll hit my save report. I'll click my checkbox, and now I can see that for my August ISHB project, I have 1 count of storm work, 2 counts of brush cut, and 38 counts of inspections. And I can continue to add information to this report. So if I wanted to know, for example, the crews that are doing the work, all I'll have to do is select edit, go to the attribute list. I'm going to remove the count field and add the work level work crew, and then I will add the work level count field as well. And I'll hit my save report. I've just teased a little bit more information out of this report, and the report has become more comprehensive, which is nice because if I wanted to, I could actually just filter down to the information that I'm looking for. If I don't want a column to show up in a report, I can hide a column, and then if I want to get that column back, I can go ahead into my menu. So I can hide columns and show columns through the drop-down menu as well. But then if I wanted to export this report, I could just go ahead and export it to a PDF, hit print, and I would have my report. And I guess the other thing that I would think would be a nice bit of information to have here, as well as the project, the work type, the crew, and the count, would be potentially a status, so that I would know what the statuses of those work records were. So in this case, I'm going to remove the count, and I'm going to add status. Actually, I've got to switch. I have to remember to switch this to work, and then I'll have access to the work level attributes. So here's status, and then I'll go ahead and I will add my work count and hit save. So I think this is a pretty good comprehensive work by project report. It includes the project, the work type, the crew, the status. The next type of report that I want to talk about is, we've been working primarily with summary type reports. Next type of report I want to run is a listing report. I think a great way to demonstrate a listing report is to use work. So for example, if I filter down to my inspections work records, I can see that I have 54 requested work records here. So what I'll do is I'm going to create a report, and I'm going to call it my inspections 2017 requested work. So I'll go ahead and create the report. My data layer is going to be tree layer, my type is going to be listing, and my attributes are going to be work level attributes. I want to choose the project. I want to choose the work type. I want to choose the work status. I want to choose the work crew. Let me actually add work species and the work diameter. And then I may also want to see a site level attribute, which I can create reports that contain either site level information, work level information, or call level information. But in this case, I may want to see the address. And so I will go ahead and save this report. And when I run this report, all right, so I actually did not make an adjustment that I should have made on this, and I wanted to go ahead and show this. But basically what I wanted to do was, in order for me to isolate this work record listing report just to the records that I wanted to, there's a couple of extra things that I can do here. I can add conditions. So I've got my attributes, and I can also open up conditions, and I can add conditions. So I can say where work project is equal to inspections 2017, where work crew, first I want to change my crew, and then choose Inspector Jim, and then also my work status should be requested. Now, when I go ahead and save this report, and then I run it, so now I should only have my 54 matching sites, which corresponds to the, if I go back to my work by project and I type in my inspections 2017, I can see I had 54 requests here. And so, and then if I'd like to, I could go ahead and export this, for example, to a CSV file. Open that CSV file, and I can see that the title of my report will be the title of the file. And I can go ahead and I can use my little trick for formatting. And I've got a perfectly formatted report. Okay, so now that I've printed out a work listing report, there's another way that I can go about getting a printout of a work record that I wanted to walk you through really quick. So if I were to take one of these sites here that I was looking at that I know has a work record associated to it, I can switch over to the work tab, and if I've got a requested inspection, there's a print button here. I can go ahead and select print. Now I've got a printout, and this is the new TreeKeeper 8 work record printout. It's got the street tree facility. It's got species attributes, site attributes, risk attributes, It's got the inset map and the Google Street View, and it's got the work information. So work record 1 is actually completed, work record 2 is requested, and I could print this work record out, hand it out to somebody, and they would be able to go out and do the work. That is an overview of TreeKeeper reporting. It's a quick overview of accessing existing reports, of creating reports, editing reports, filtering reports, exporting reports, as well as a look at the dashboard reporting and a look at the work record printing. Thank you for watching this video tutorial on reporting, and stay tuned for future video tutorials.